wasteland, a social wasteland. That's what this is. This place. Whatever induced me to come here, I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. Back home in North Carolina, it was impossible to find a decent spouse. There was no money, what with losing the war and the Yankees scooping up all the business. Why, even a stint in Memphis with my sister brought no better prospects there. So I came to Denver to visit cousins and meet a man and find wealth. So they threw me a party, and that's where I met Crawford Hill. Finally, an eligible bachelor. He was due to inherit his father's wealth from the gold smelter in Blackhawk. I was determined to marry him, and marry him I did. And that's when I discovered the wasteland. My mother-in-law, Alice, thought she was the top of the social ladder. Well, I changed that in a hurry. The sisters-in-law were miffed, but what did I care? They didn't like it. They could go somewhere else. And they did go somewhere else, that is. We built a 22-room mansion with a 72-foot drawing room. It fit 9 tables with 4 card players each, just perfectly. Oh, and I made sure that the newspapers knew of everything and anything we were doing. Why, one reporter even gave us the title, The Sacred 36. I rather like that, don't you? Well, to be the top of the social set, you must know how to give people a good time. So I threw out those dainty tea parties of my mother-in-law's and introduced champagne and dancing till the wee hours. Why, I even brought in instructors so that everyone could learn the latest dance moves. We did the angleworm wiggle and the grizzly bear and the bunny hug. I had an orchestra pit built beneath our staircase so that we could have grand music at all our occasions. My favorite event was in the spring when we unveiled the nude statue in my garden. Oh, I just loved to see those shocked expressions on all those biddies' faces. The men, I noticed, loved it. As the queen of Denver's social set, so they called me, I introduced Denver's first who's who of society. And for Molly Brown and the like, there were rules that would keep you out. Number 1, trying to get in too hurriedly. Number 2, trying to buy your way in. And number 3, a lack of good sense, good breeding, and self-control. Molly hits all 3. At my home, over my stairway, I hung pictures of the 2 men in my life. The first was of Crawford, my husband, whose money and position gave me the life I deserved. And the other was of Buckley Wells, whom I simply adored. Oh, Crawford didn't mind. In fact, we used to dine together and go on trips together. Alice Wells didn't find that so amusing and eventually divorced Buckley. And 4 years after that, poor Crawford died. Oh, but now Buckley and I could marry. And that's why I was utterly astounded to find out that he had run off and married some other lady. Oh, how dare he insult me in such a fashion. Oh, but I vowed I would ruin Buckley, and ruin him I did. Why, the men in my social circle were his financial backers or were indebted to them. I convinced them to pull their backing. I was determined that Buckley and his bride would go bankrupt if it was the very last thing I ever did. It took a few years, but just before he announced his bankruptcy, poor Buckley committed suicide. Well, I did miss him, but he never should have humiliated me. After a while, I sold the huge house and moved into the Brown Palace Hotel. I chose to begin to keeping to myself and remembering the elegant times rather than change.
Bravo! Bravo!
Thank you.